Hi, I'm Isabella Loma. Today we're going to be reading Choose Life from Deuteronomy 30:19, A Practical Guide to Health and Nutrition by Batya, Shemesh. Introduction. Deuteronomy 30:19-20. This day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your children may live, and that you may love the Lord your God. Listen to his voice and hold fast to him. For the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. In the above verses, God is announcing to the people of Israel that he is about to give them free choice. When they were in the desert, their choices were very limited. They ate manna from heaven, and they were guided by their leaders every step of the way. Moses is speaking to a nation on the verge of entering the land of Canaan. They would have to be independent and make many selections in life. Moses gives them two choices: life and good or death and bad. The Torah promotes life. Moses tells the Israelites, choose life. The Sabbath is a day of rest, where all work is prohibited. It begins on Friday at sunset and ends the next day after nightfall. This full day of rest every week gives us health and life. However, if someone is sick on the Sabbath, or even if there is a slight chance of danger, all the laws of Sabbath are broken. On the same note, we must make all efforts to sustain life, to be strong and healthy. The laws of nature are also God's laws. Therefore, when we keep them, we show respect to our Creator. Any self-respecting person guards his life by going to the doctor and seriously deliberates over following his orders. If you are very diligent, you will make healthy choices in your lifestyle. For instance, with conscious intent, lower your consumption of high cholesterol foods. Some people are also careful about getting enough sleep and exercise. This is a book for those who are looking for more than just the minimum. They are willing to make the efforts to eat right, cook, and avoid processed food. Individuals that try as hard as they can to be healthy should be respected and admired, but instead they are often looked down upon. The strength that it takes to avoid eating unhealthy foods and actively prepare and cook healthy foods is a serious challenge for the average person. Anyone who does so should be esteemed. Those who pursue a healthy lifestyle don't look for admiration because their efforts produce results. Feeling good and healthy is the best reward of all. Sometimes I wonder how people can eat so much junk and apparently still seem to be healthy. It has taken me decades to figure out the answer. After years of experience, I've discovered a few very important points. Major life stresses rob us of our sorely needed nutrients. If you have no reserves, you can collapse physically or mentally when any trauma occurs. People who are used to poor nourishment adapt to it, but they cannot possibly achieve to be as smart or as successful as their God-given potentials allow. After many years of nutritional deficiencies, people age rapidly and suffer the consequences of their poor diets. Studies show that Americans who have economic difficulties statistically have shorter lives than their richer neighbors. This is not only because of the stress of the financial burden, but because fresh produce is expensive in America, and poor families choose less expensive and less nutritious foods instead. In countries like Israel, where fresh produce is inexpensive and abundant, and there is modern healthcare, the poor and the rich have similar lifespans. We can never be sure that life will be perfect. No insurance can prevent heart disease or stroke. However, with proper nutrition and exercise, you can have a better life. You have the strength to cope with life's challenges. You don't have to be rich to eat healthy, and you don't have to be 100% perfect with your diet. What you must have is knowledge. When Moses was in the desert, he presented the Israelites the good and bad deeds that will give life or take it away. In this book, I will present to you the good foods and lifestyle that can have the potential of giving you a new and improved life. Your family is your ticket to a good life. Some people say that they want to live, but really, they embrace death. How do we know? They do things that ruin their lives. One example is being nasty to your close ones. If you would, God forbid, get sick, your family will be the only ones that will be there for you. By yelling and fighting with family and distancing them, you destroy your own life. Another example of welcoming death is people who smoke or take drugs. If you don't care about your health enough to make it your top priority, then you are choosing death. Some parents do not insist that their children eat healthy food because they don't like it. The truth is that children have a very strong desire to live. If you explain to your children that specific foods will prevent major diseases, you will be surprised with their reactions. Parents tell their children that the good food is healthy, but the concept of health is hard for children to understand. Explain what diseases people have because of poor health. Take a few days to enumerate health problems until they come up with the question, what should we do? When my son was 7 years old, he was having a binge on popsicles that his father bought him in the grocery store. I explained to him that there are a lot of diseases in the world, and one of them is diabetes. Diabetes comes from eating too many sweet things, I explained. Many people become weak from this disease, and they can become blind or lose a leg. Millions of people have died from diabetes. My son's reaction was amazing. He looked at me with blame in his eyes. Why didn't you tell me that there was a disease called diabetes that was caused by eating sugar? From that day on, I realized that no matter what their age, children have a right to informed consent. To give children food that is not good for them, you would have to explain the risks and benefits. If you don't, you are tricking them. They trust us to take good care of them, so how can we deceive those innocent souls? Until they develop enough to fully understand, you should praise them for eating healthy so that they grow up big and strong. The drawback is that many parents do not know what is healthy and what isn't. They cannot afford to eat only organic or become vegans. This book is for everyone. Rich or poor, you can eat and be healthy on a very small budget. The literal transition of Deuteronomy 30:15 is, "See, I've set before you life and goodness, death and evil, and you shall choose life." Just as in Deuteronomy, Hashem, our nickname for God, set the good and the bad. In this book, I will set before you foods that are good for you and foods that are bad. The good foods give life, and the bad foods promote death. You choose. Deuteronomy 15:26. If you listen carefully to the Lord your God and do what is right in his eyes, if you pay attention to his commands and keep all his decrees, I will not bring on you any of the diseases I brought on the Egyptians, for I am the Lord who heals you. Hashem is not only interested in our spirit, but like any father, he wants us to be well. His commands are not only the rules of the Torah, but also the laws of nature. By obeying the principles of nature, you are obeying God's laws. The rules that I present to you in this book are not conventional laws of kosher eating. My purpose is not to change Jewish law. I'm searching for the secret of health. What's better than to look for clues in the Bible? The creator of the world certainly knows us better than what we think is healthy and what isn't. How do we know that the Bible is true? See Rabbi Lawrence Kellerman. How do we know that the Torah is true? You can watch his fabulous speech on YouTube. Aside from the amazing findings that are in the Bible, I have my own discoveries. Throughout my 26 years of experience with thousands of patients, I've discovered many secrets of health and natural medicine, some of which I will reveal in this book. One of the amazing topics that I will cover is the comparison between Eastern studies of health and the Jewish outlook. I will compare the Jewish Kabbalistic teachings of the soul with the chakras from Ayurvedic philosophy developed in India, adding constructive ways to implement this wisdom. I also delve into the way Chinese medicine categorizes foods and how we can use that knowledge to choose the proper diet that we need as individuals. To begin, I would like to tell you the story of how I became interested in health food and healing as a young girl and developed into a successful healer.